What's going on, everybody? This is Joe.
And Amy.
And we are back with another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Last time, we were in trial for the second episode in a row. And this time, possibly for the first time ever, to my knowledge in this game, we are going to trial for a third day in a row.
Ooh.
Because at the end of the last episode, Lana, our client, the defendant, revealed that when she was an executive in the prosecutor's office, she did in fact falsify evidence in the SL9 trial that we've been, or the SL9 case that we've been hearing so much about.
Yeah.
In this present case. So, yeah, let's get into it. Oh, it says investigation. Okay, well, let's see. February 24th, 3:12 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
Wow. It's pretty messed up.
I didn't know.
Of course you didn't.
I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Drake convicted so badly.
Dark.
That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there, in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
She found the evidence.
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
Oh, jeez.
What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
Oh, shit.
So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. I mean, we knew she was a witness. We knew she was on the witness list or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason why was unclear, and now it's more clear.
It's very clear now.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk to her. SL9 incident or after the incident?
The incident.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. Well, yeah, because as we've learned, the trials are like 2 days after the crime. So because we've heard about the SL9 incident being almost 2 years since that investigation where the case would be fully closed and etc.
Yeah.
Now we're up to this point. So it makes sense that all of it occurred within the last 2 plus maybe a month years.
Right.
There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall.
What was it that he screamed? Because I feel like that's kind of important.
I don't know. Back up, shut up. You know, that kind of thing. Like, don't scream, I'm hiding in here, or whatever. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then...
There's a big, like, sibling theme in this video game, and
yes.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Except, we don't know. I mean, I was going to say Phoenix is an only child, but I don't think he's specifically said that.
No.
So, you know, that gives them a bit of leeway for the sequels if they wanted to let him have siblings if he needs them. But,
sure, because everyone needs them, I guess.
I mean, you know, sometimes only children are cool.
My point is, it's really not necessary for that to be like the one through line.
Yeah. What happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can...
the lights out?
What?
Were the lights out?
She said the bolt of lightning struck, turned the power out. All the lights went out. Okay. Then a bolt of lightning struck and lit up the room for a moment.
So there were 2 bolts of lightning.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I'm here thinking it's the same one, and I'm like, but how did those 2 things happen at the same time?
Yeah, no. Thankfully, it wasn't that coincidental. Because when the lights go out, you have that moment of like, especially if it's dark outside. If it's light outside, it's somewhat less relevant. But
right.
If it's dark outside, you have that moment of like, oh, a second ago I was seeing
and now
the room around me, and now I'm very much not.
Right.
It's a very shocking experience. Mm-hmm. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture?
Permanent
After the
picture.
incident, or okay. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out.
Oh, jeez.
I think that's how the creators of this game think children handle like traumatic situations.
Yeah, they pass out.
Yeah, because that's the same thing that happened at Edgeworth.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely not what happens in real life.
No.
Not usually.
No.
I shouldn't say it never does, but
sure.
Not usually.
Sure. But it's not that typical where both instances of a child experiencing a traumatic event in front of them
right.
causes them to just pass out. Anyway,
That's like an old movie trope.
Yeah, well... Yeah, or like, that's like women as well. Just like the, and like they put their hand on their forehead and just faint. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. You don't say poor so-and-so to someone's face. That's weird.
Weren't we just saying that to ourselves?
No, that would have been in parentheses. It was not.
Okay.
That's what I mean. You don't do that.
Weird.
Yeah. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. To apparently an empty courtroom with no one in it. No prosecutor, no defense attorney, no judge, nothing. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. And also, I look exactly the same then, 2 years ago, as I do now. I drew a picture,
No,
but...
I'm a child, which means, like an adult, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But a child, like, definitely not. Especially a child this age.
Right. I think she's 14, 16, something like that.
So 2 years ago,
she would have been 12 or 14.
Yeah, she would have looked like a preteen.
Yeah.
As opposed to looking like a teenager.
Exactly, yeah. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago? You must have been 14. There you go. Thank you, Phoenix. Appreciate it.
Oh, so she's 16 now.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. She's either...
Alright, maybe ages 14 to 16, you don't change that much on how you look.
I mean...
You kind of do. You kind of do.
I mean, I guess, like, girls kind of experience puberty a little bit earlier than guys do, typically. So, yeah, because I imagine, like... But, never mind. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's just... Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That's super interesting to me. Because from my experience, a lot of times, or not a lot of times, I don't want to make blanket statements. Sometimes... kids will base what they quote-unquote want to be when they grow up, right, to experiences that they've had in their lives. So if they have a family member who is sick or struggling with a debilitating disease, they sometimes grow up to want to be caretakers nurses, doctors, etc., because of the people that they saw caring for their loved one, who they thought were these great figures. People who may have gone through more traumatic situations and were able to get mental health assistance, may grow up to be mental health professionals, or want to grow up to be mental health professionals because of the assistance that they were given. So this is kind of interesting as well, that she's saying that she wanted to be a scientific investigator because she couldn't testify then to help convict the guy who killed the guy who saved her life, right? So I like that's kind of true to form, true to life.
Yeah.
Did I say this already? And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Okay,
After the incident.
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
Dude, what the fuck?
I mean...
Like, that's not your fault. If you're not conscious for something, you can't testify that it happened.
Right.
Period.
No. I agree, but also... Kids definitely feel this way, right?
Yeah.
They tend to blame themselves. If only I did this, if only I did that. And it's like, no, that's not how it works at all.
That's not just what kids do. I mean, adults do that too.
Sure.
They just don't necessarily say that out loud or like understand that that's how they feel about the situation.
Right.
Like, because from a rational standpoint, they know that's not true.
Right.
So they feel it, but they just decide that that doesn't make sense, so they don't like allow themselves to feel it. And sometimes that's worse because, you know, a kid will, if they're experiencing that, they'll have the ability to say it.
Sure.
Better than an adult, I think, a lot of times.
I can agree with that. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Okay, and then something puzzling.
Yeah.
There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? She looks so happy. You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. There isn't. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator?
She used to be a detective?
But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective.
Damn.
There you go.
You did not tell us that.
She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Okay, so she was transferred to the prosecutor's office to be a prosecutor. So does that mean that when she was a detective who was a licensed attorney?
I guess.
That's so
weird.
I mean, that's, you know what? Who am I to say what a quote-unquote proper, like, career track is for a lawyer? When you graduate law school and pass the bar, you can be whatever you want, right? You don't even have to practice law. You know, one of the jokes is for us lawyers, at least around here where I graduated from, was that lawyers make the best restaurant owners.
Yeah, no, that sounds right.
So you know, you don't have to do that. There are obviously, at least here in the United States, depending on where you're watching this from and what context you have on it, but here in the U.S., a lot of our politicians are lawyers, especially in the upper echelon of our government,
right?
The Senate, the House of Representatives, etc.
Or at least at one point had their license. Who knows if it's like up to date necessarily.
Correct. But I remember with folks like Bill Clinton and whoever, like they ran the risk when they were put up for things like impeachment or whatever, right? Maybe he wasn't impeached, but he could have still had his license taken away. His license to practice law for unethical activities or whatever the case may be.
Right, because he lied under oath.
Right. So, yeah, that's kind of a whole different animal, but still, like, you know, it's just interesting to me. Police detective is not one that I've heard before.
Right.
But as I said, that doesn't mean that it's
but
impossible.
It's plausible, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd better have another talk with her. Although I will say that a person who was a police detective would probably make a pretty good prosecutor.
Yeah.
I would think
so.
Right, because I know that at least, like, because that's all kind of the same system. I mean, depending on what other things that detective is investigating. But that a lot of times prosecuting attorneys will then move on to doing defense work when they're done being a prosecutor for one reason or another. Because
it's usually because they want to make more money.
Yes, if they want to be more lucrative, they can then take on higher paying clients as opposed to just getting their state salary or their government salary. Right. So, yeah. And again, please realize if you're newer to the series and don't remember the first episode, I'm coming at this from my knowledge of law here in New York State. So please be aware of that. If you're from a different jurisdiction, you're obviously more than welcome to let me know what it's like for you if it's different. But that's where my information or my thought process is coming from. All right. So now we know that we have to move to the detention center and have a talk with Lana.
Yeah. Which I'm not excited about because she's not very forthcoming.
Yeah, well. February 24th, detention center, visitor's room. Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? Because
you're trying to get justice?
Yeah, you run the risk of putting an innocent man in jail and allowing the criminal who actually perpetrated the crime to still be walking the streets, free to do whatever they choose, including, you know, committing crimes and killing people.
Yeah, I think she was trying to say that, like, she knew it was him, and so she had to create more of a way of making other people know that it was him.
Again, if you know it's him, there would likely be some form of evidence or something. Like,
right.
I just don't buy it personally. Right. Like,
yeah, I don't buy it either. No. I don't buy it either.
But Lana, if you're wrong, thank you, Emma. God damn. If you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was a reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Thanks, I guess.
You're my client, and I'm your attorney, so you probably should tell me if I'm asking.
Exactly. Today's trial or Detective Lana Skye?
Detective Lana Skye.
It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister.
Yeah, that's cute.
It is pretty cute. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. But he didn't, but I guess maybe after today's trial it'll become an option. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Ms. Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. So yeah, this was my suspicion, right? We've talked about this multiple times during this chapter.
Yeah.
What would cause Lana to lie about this? And the only thing I can think of from what we've discussed is if Emma would somehow be implicated in something. And so she's trying to save Emma by, like, let's say that, what's his name? Goodman was gonna reveal what Emma did. And so instead, Lana killed him or capitalized on the fact that he was killed, made it look like she did it, and then was like, yep, nope, I killed him. Don't worry about it. It was only me. Just throw me in jail. Like,
okay. My theory is, that's a really good point, especially since his last name is Goodman. It's probably a really good thought to be like, well, he's gonna uncover her fake evidence or whatever.
Sure.
You know, at this point, from what we've learned of the chief, now you've talked about the chief seeming sketchy in the past.
Yeah.
I think the more that we learn about him, the more I feel like she's doing it because of him.
Okay.
I think she's being blackmailed by him, or he's you know, posed some kind of a threat to her.
Okay.
Where she feels that going to prison will be safer and more preferable to whatever it is that he's threatened to do.
Sure, and I'm more inclined to believe something like that. The other thing I was thinking of, but I still think your point is stronger. But the other thing I was thinking of is, you know, she said that when he became chief of police or whatever, he arranged her transfer to the prosecutor's office. So this may be a quid pro quo.
Right.
You know, hey, look, you have to take the fall for this because look what I did for you. And if you do, then I'll do something like make sure that your sister is safe and whatever. Like,
yeah, but I feel like in that particular situation, it would have to be more dire.
Sure.
Which is why I think it's like resorted to threats.
Sure. And that's why I say I think yours is more plausible.
Yeah, like
just
maybe
another
he said,
option is
like,
what
I'm gonna do such and such to your sister that you don't want. And you know, that's enough for her to say, well, I guess I'll go to prison instead.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
Because I feel like he's the one who presented her with this fake evidence to begin with.
He being Chief Gant.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's ask about the investigation then. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. Okay, so that meant that her office was Gant's office. And
What?
maybe Dark was working with Gant? And so ran into her office because it was also Gant's office?
Yeah.
Interesting. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Ugh, now you tell us. Okay. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. Marshall and Gant were the two questioning him.
Yeah.
And then Marshall dies.
Well, which Marshall, though?
Neil Marshall,
Okay.
not Jake.
Okay.
So yeah, she said Neil Marshall and Damon Gant were the two questioning him. Then, right after that questioning, he runs away
Where,
and Marshall dies.
Marshall finds something out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe Dark said too much and implicated Gant, and Gant was like, okay, well, I'm going to let you out of this room, but, you know.
And maybe if he didn't even implicate Gant, he just said something, and Marshall was like, wait a minute.
Because he's a detective and may have actually been able to figure this stuff out, you know?
Exactly.
Sure. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Whoa. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies. One, I assume, is Emma's from being, like, knocked over or something. But
Because she passed out.
But why is Marshall on top of...
I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out.
3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it.
So.
What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved.
Yeah.
Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
Yeah.
That case just might not be over yet.
That's a great line, actually.
What, that you have to live with your memories? And then...
No, that life doesn't stop with the closing of a case.
It's true.
Like, you think you've gotten justice, you think you've gotten closure, and then you go on to live the rest of your life and learn a lot of times that that's not what it actually did for you.
Yeah.
All it did was, put cuffs on a person and put them in a box.
Right.
And you're no happier than you were the day the incident happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, at least in like pop culture and stuff, you hear similar things, not specifically necessarily about trials, but like someone killing someone who killed someone they love, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear from people all the time, like, it doesn't make you feel better.
No.
Right? Like, you think, oh, I'm going to get revenge on this person. I'm going to kick their ass. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them like they killed whoever. My husband, my brother, my mother, whatever the case may be. And people who come upon that person holding the gun or the knife or whatever, they're like, it's not worth it. Like, it doesn't make you feel better to do that.
Hate begets more hate.
Yeah.
And love begets more love, which is why rehabilitation's important.
Right. And I mean, you hear stories sometimes, if you know where to look, about people who are like families of victims forgiving the criminal.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing for some people, right? Mm-hmm. There are some people who are victims of a crime or family members of victims of a crime who are also victims. Please don't get me wrong when I say that. But that are like, hell no, I can't forgive that person. And I completely understand that as well. But, there's that.
Well, I think because there's that fallacy that forgiving something means the same thing as condoning it.
Right.
And that's not what it means at all.
Well, it also could mean to some people that, that's them, quote unquote, getting over it, which is kind of a crappy concept to begin with. Which is also not
what that means.
Correct. Absolutely. I agree with you. But that's what I'm saying is that some people may look at it as condoning it. Other people may look at it as, well, I'm forgiving you because I'm over it now. I'm not upset about it anymore. And it's like, that's definitely not how that works. Okay, so Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Okay, well, we have our directions. Alright, would it be at the Criminal Affairs Department or just specifically at the police department?
I don't know.
Let's go to the police department. Yep, okay. February 24th, police department entrance. Ooh. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall! I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy dried up?
I don't know what that is. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation.
Uh-huh.
It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back.
Oh, jeez.
So he's turning himself in, essentially.
Okay.
Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Huh. Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Okay, Dark Trial or Prosecutor Marshall?
Dark Trial.
Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
I bet it had.
Yeah, that sure does sound like reasonable doubt to me, and they might not want that if they're trying to get this case, solved. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. Okay, Prosecutor Marshall or scars?
Scars.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of.
Meaning what? Exactly.
So, he was bumped down to beat cop again or whatever.
Yeah.
Lana was bumped up or over to the prosecutor's office.
Yeah.
Goodman was the only one left, and now he's dead. Besides the other marshal, who's also now.
Murdered.
And Starr was fired.
Yeah, she's a lunch lady now.
Right. So he said everybody save one was taken care of. So Starr was fired. Marshall was demoted. Goodman stayed.
Right. He was the one.
Yes, he was the one.
Okay.
Interesting. Ms. Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant and Skye? Keep it going, Marshall. Let's go. The investigation lead Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. Okay, and then we'll ask about his brother. I got the looks, but he got the brains. I think his brother looks a lot more attractive than he does.
Whatever, they look the same.
He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for?
Phoenix.
That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence, so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
Wow.
It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything.
Well, yeah. He's the prosecutor. Like, he's not the one who's gonna come up with all the evidence. Like, that's the detectives and, you know, like forensics jobs.
Right. Yeah, he works with what he's given.
Right.
That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today, or I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Wow.
Okay, I guess we do have to go to the Criminal Affairs Department next. Because this is where Gant's office is, apparently. Even though, to me, it was really a toss-up. I really did not know one way or another. I guess I should have. But anyway, February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. This place is always pretty empty, but today, it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Yeah, that's definitely what it means, Emma. Yep, you got it. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room? Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together.
I guess it's a good time of year for us to be playing this then, because as we're playing this, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas put together.
It's
right
between,
now.
yeah. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Emma, you can't just ask somebody that. That's not okay. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Why would he just let us do that?
I don't know.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. You suck, dude. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay. I guess.
Oh, well, I guess her saying that, like, made him tell her what she would need to do if she was gonna go.
Yeah.
And now that we've been told not to,
right,
we're going to do it anyway.
Seems that way. Whoa.
An organ?
Why?
Because he has that cross that he wears that
yeah,
like takes up his whole chest.
It's real weird. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Nice. Whoa, where am I?
In the stained glass windows, too.
In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. Why? They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Why? I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Is that implying that she just played that? I never could remember where C was. Yeah, I was gonna say, you're just fucking playing the dude's organ and you don't expect him to, like, immediately run up and be like, who the hell's in my office right now? Mm-hmm. It's not like the organ's gonna be like, toot. Like, no, it's loud as shit.
Yeah, there are a lot of pipes there.
Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant! He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? Still never know what this dude's talking about.
Oh, there's a suit of armor behind him as well.
Hell yeah, there is. No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there?
Oh, yeah.
That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. And look what's behind them.
The vase.
The vase. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Okay, I wonder if this will get added to the court record. So, this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. So then maybe that vase was not from this case, but from the other case.
Mm-hmm.
And the blood that's on it is Neil Marshall's blood.
Maybe.
We took it to commemorate our work together.
Is Lana holding the sword?
No, that's the suit of armor has a little
it's
like
just
spear.
like in front of her.
Correct.
Okay.
Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. I mean, I can.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell.
Gant team picture added to the court record. Photo
Nice.
Photo at the award ceremony of Ghana. Wow. Nope, not Ghana. That's a place. Gant, Lana, and Neil. This dude pauses for such a long time. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. Trust me.
I promise.
Yeah, wink, wink. Now get the hell out. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now, hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. So, okay, hold the hell on. So here we are at the entrance to the police station after having left. So we could have gone straight to the criminal affairs department,
Yeah.
right, from like our office or whatever, and then gone into his office. Because when we were at the police department entrance, we still had to go to the criminal affairs department before we could get into his office. And yet now that we have been kicked out of his office, we just leave out the front of the police department entrance. Sure, whatever. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. Oh, sorry, that was Phoenix. It seems that case isn't over with after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Let's try to find Gumshoe? Maybe he's here? February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. There he is! Holy crap. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long?
Hey, you know that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Wow.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. It sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Okay. Edgeworth's crisis, or the SL9 incident.
Edgeworth's crisis.
But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she?
That makes Emma feel good.
Yeah. Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, well, yes and no, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. So, he is responsible for the evidence he presents. Like, he can 100% say, well, hey, I didn't know, but can that be proven that he didn't know? Can it be proven that he did know or should have known? Because prosecutors or attorneys in general, when they're presenting evidence in court, have a higher standard that you cannot lie in court, right? The courtroom as an attorney is like sacred ground for you, so to speak. Right. It's not exactly that, so don't quote me on that. But like the idea of the court is key or king, I guess in this case. You don't lie in the courtroom.
But that's all the more reason why a detective wouldn't make a prosecutor aware of the fact that the evidence was forged.
Sure, but it's still the prosecutor's job to follow up on all that. You don't just take even something that the police give you at pure face value. You still have to follow up with witnesses or your own investigator. Like the prosecutor's office has their own investigating team. At least, again, the prosecutor's offices that I've been in have their own investigating team that handle these kinds of things as well. And that's not to say that you are kind of second guessing the police department either. The police would expect that you would do your own investigating. Okay. You need to follow up with any witnesses that might be able to corroborate the things that the police have found. Okay. And you should work with the police as well, because the police are going to be the ones to come in and testify about any evidence that was found or any investigating that was done. And they need to have all their I's dotted and T's crossed to make sure that they can fully dictate every ounce of evidence, how it was collected, what practices were used. That stuff all gets asked about if it ever goes to trial. Right. Now, if it doesn't and something settles, well, okay, the case is done, congratulations, but you still have to have all that information readily available to you, because otherwise it's not evidence that you could use or that would get any traction whatsoever, because the defense would just say, okay, well, there's no proper foundation for any of this, and the judge is just going to throw it out.
Right.
Or not accept it in the first place.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to just, like, take a bunch of nonsense, like, clear nonsense, and be like, this is what I'm doing with this now. Right. You know, I would expect him to, like, do a little bit of his own work to, like, at least make sure it does make sense, but to, like, check up and make sure it's not been falsified?
Sure.
That seems like a lot.
And that's why you put forth your best faith effort, and if and when he comes in front of a disciplinary board who's going to ask him about it, he would have all the information that he had. He would have all the information that the detective had or may have said in court, right? These trials would have transcripts that he can bring forth and say, look, she fully admitted to it. Whether or not she says, you know, hopefully he'd be able to say she admitted that I had no knowledge of it whatsoever. Right. And that would help him in his case. But that doesn't mean that he is innocent in the eyes of the court of public opinion.
Well, yeah.
And that's more of what Gumshoe's talking about here, is that there are a lot of rumors going around about it, and that's all. So,
but he's not facing a disciplinary board, like you mentioned.
Correct.
Okay.
That would likely come later. I mean, this just happened the day before,
but he's had issues in the past.
Correct.
So I can understand why at this point they are at least gonna be giving him a talking to, if not,
right,
you know, more severe disciplinary things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies.
And also, like, being ambitious, right? Like, making enemies because you're ambitious.
Sure, he's got a fire lit under him, whereas other people can, if they've been there a while, can get complacent and yeah.
And they don't care as much.
Right, and they think because they've been there a certain number of years that they may quote unquote know better. And so if he comes in and starts rising the ranks and then becomes their supervisor,
Right.
they can absolutely just become bitter about
Or
that.
right, because they might think that they're owed something.
Correct.
You know, as opposed to him who's going to work harder to
Right.
get there.
Right, who the hell's this kid? Who does he think he is? As
Yeah.
opposed to, oh, he has a lot more skill than I do, even though I've been here for however many decades, and he's been here for less than 2 years or whatever it is, right? Jesus. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, that was him. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problems with that. You don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Doc left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? His body and the knife? Let's see.
Witnesses?
I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Okay. Well, before we do Dark's Crimes, let's try that. So,
Okay.
Back up. Present the murder weapon to him. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 Incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was... I was going to say Gumshoe. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. Did you hear me put the accent on her voice?
Yep.
Gumshoe's, I have to say, the voice I did for Gumshoe is 100% the hardest one I've done.
Really? Because I think it's the one that you're the best at.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I really think it's the toughest, truly. To, like, keep perfectly straight and, like, the same all the way through, but again, then it, like, bleeds into some of the other ones.
Well, because I think it's the only one that's, like, truly an accent, you know, as opposed to you just, like, changing the tone of your voice.
Sure. Well, and Marshall, too. A little bit Southern.
But that's mostly just, like, the way he talks.
Yeah.
Than it is an accent.
Sure.
Like, I feel like you're doing a little bit of an accent, but it's mostly just, like if you were reading Emma's part in that accent, it would sound like she was the tiniest bit Southern. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. Okay, fair enough.
But because of the way that he talks and what he says, it makes it that much more. Yeah,
it's just harder to come out of. That's why I said moited when I read Emma's line.
On the day Detective Goodman was moited, this suddenly disappeared from the locker.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad.
No, it's funny. I think it's funny. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Are you... That's... Oh, right. So it'll be in the speech now.
Okay.
So she said something might jog his memory. So let's ask him about this. I'm just curious.
Okay.
Because my curiosity is, we're missing a handle on this jar.
Yes.
Right? So my thing is...
And the piece that the handle is attached to.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But my thing is, if this jar was evidence, there's no tag. Because maybe the tag was on that arm of the jar. But let's present this to him and see if anything happens. About that jaw. I think I've seen it before somewhere.
Yeah, you have.
Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Rude. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen that before? Okay.
So now we show him the pic.
Exactly. Let me share a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut. I'll keep that in mind. Sheesh. Okay, so in other words, that means nothing to him.
Okay.
Let's check these. Okay, nothing seemingly in there. I don't think there's anything else to show him.
No.
So let's go back to talking to him. Okay, so now we have the murder weapon or Dark's crimes.
Let's talk about the murder weapon first.
This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. Wow, Gumshoe. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway.
Oh my god.
Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found.
Somebody's butthole.
Wow. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. Why would you say it like that? What a weird way to put that. Why is that the way you say it? He was carrying it inside of him. It's like,
because it was in his butthole.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
He was keystering it.
Yep.
It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Deep inside the crack.
Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber.
No, it didn't.
That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report added to the court record. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. And the switchblade knife updated in the court record. The broken tip was found in the victim's body, belonged to murderer Joe Dark.
He was stabbed once through the heart and lung?
Maybe if it was down? I mean, he was on the ground, right? Look, it's implausible, right? But not impossible. Dark's crimes. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know that that's how that works, but sure. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then as he was burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Sorry, I was not skipping through those. That was doing it all on its own.
Quick.
God damn it, Gumshoe. Excuse me. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So, he turned himself in? Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. So this was all at once?
Yeah, did you listen?
He hit somebody with his car.
Right.
Killed the person who witnessed him hitting somebody with his car.
Right.
Killed the person who witnessed the person he killed when he saw the... Yeah. Holy crap!
So this is all one instance, because so he's not really a serial killer.
I mean, he is,
but he's
but
not.
Yeah, he's a multiple murderer.
He killed a lot of people,
yeah,
but it wasn't serial. It wasn't over a period of time. It was just all at once.
It's a mass murder, or a multiple murder. Wow.
Because each person who witnessed the last killing was the person he killed next.
Yeah.
It's just a comedy of errors.
So weird.
That wasn't comedic because it was murder.
Yeah. So anyway, murder is found with like the prosecutor marshal. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness? Yeah, Emma. AKA Emma. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant.
Oh, God.
This was from multiple episodes ago, and that's not even true. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? See, I knew we had to ask him. It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
And we have Goodman's.
What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? Why? Why would you show that to him? Just use it. Emma, you're the worst at this place. Twice now, you're like, well, we're gonna go do this now. And they're like, no, you shouldn't do
Joe,
that. Okay.
She's in forensics, okay? She doesn't get subtlety. She doesn't get going around people. She's just like, oh, this is what you were talking about, right?
This is the thing
Emma,
that... Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, exactly. Pat her on the head. Okay. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
I guess it's a good thing she said it then.
So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Okay.
The picture. But he didn't like it.
Yeah. No. That wasn't... Was that that? No, that was the incident files? No, okay, that was... You're right. It was the picture. My bad. What if we show him this again? About that jaw. I've seen this... think I've seen it somewhere before. Blah, blah, blah. Previous lives. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. Like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Where could I have seen that before? Okay.
Any paperwork we can show him?
Is it possible that he is the last number on the ID card record? That's the ID card record, isn't it? Yes, there's only one number left to investigate. At 4:20 p.m. Come on.
Nice.
Come on. Know it. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive office number. 7777777. That's 17 too many. Jesus Christ. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch.
So he doesn't know.
Come on. What do we have? What?
His creation. The badger.
What about it?
Show him the badger.
Why?
Look, we still have your badger. We love him. It's great. Let us into the office. He's wonderful.
Oh, this will be the opposite. This guy almost made us lose the case today.
Right. God damn it.
What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence locker with his life.
Yes, he was. What a good job.
That's more than you could say about most offices nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well. I have to admit he's right, though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. Oh, I knew it!
What?
Look at this picture. We haven't gotten a chance to look at this yet.
Oh, there is a piece of it missing.
There's a sword.
Yeah.
A literal sword missing off of the King of Prosecutors trophy.
It looks like a broken sword.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, but still, it's still just straight up missing.
Right.
I knew it. I was like, it feels different to me. All right, let's look at this. Name of the deceased, Neil Marshall, 27-year-old male. Date and time of death, February 19th, between 7 and 7:30 p.m. Cause of death, single stab wound, piercing heart/lung. Assessment, died from blood loss in under 10 minutes. Weapon found in wound was missing tip. The weapon found in the wound was missing the tip. And then the tip was later found in the body, but that's not technically said here. A knife tip was in the wound. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that was planted.
I don't know.
Because, remember, they said that it wasn't the right knife. Marshall said it wasn't the right knife.
Yeah.
So...
what does this have to do with anything? The tag says AI-16. What's that got to do with anything? Nothing, apparently. At least, that's what Edgeworth said. That makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows? This might turn out to be a clue that breaks the case. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, that's kind of what I figured. Is that it's going to be something. So maybe we try this? Nope. Alright, well I tried. What else do we got? Evidence from floor plans. Rubber glove. Evidence locker. Unstable jar. Marshall's fingerprints. Do we... I can't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that. You know Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus.
Oh my god. That's not what he said.
Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Wow.
The tape? Nope. Interesting. I mean... no locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker. Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, Detective? The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand, without any fingerprints. Shh! If they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. Come on, man. There's so much evidence we can show him, but none of it's the right one. Sorry, everybody.
Maybe we don't need to present him anything else.
It said we have to show him something to change his mind.
Alright, what have we shown him? Let's just go through each item we've got.
We showed him the video. We showed him the fingerprints. We showed him the jar. We showed him the locker. We showed him the files, I think?
Well, he gave us the files. So I don't know that presenting him with the files makes sense.
I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. To think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know? After all, a serial killer was on the loose. But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Okay, and he just gave us Neil's autopsy report.
Yeah, I don't know why he's got no reaction to this picture.
Me neither.
Maybe he needed to see the jar first? No, because you still presented him with it after the jar.
Correct.
So I don't even know.
Me neither. We already showed him the switchblade. The bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye, taken by Angel Star.
Yeah, that's why I thought it would be something weird, like the Blue Badger. Like, oh, you've got your guy because he's awesome, you know, or because it seemingly didn't have anything to actually do with the case.
Right. Let's try this. It seems like that's a stretch. Damn. Don't make me run into a wall now. Come on. Do we go show Lana this picture? Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. She really means it. Lana? Okay. What about this jar?
Instead.
Attorneys and prosecutors, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
That's not helpful. Okay, goodbye.
Alright, let's check out this place, I guess. February 24th, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot. No one's here today. Not even Ms. Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow.
Don't say hang in there, Lana. She confessed, so it's her own fault.
Yeah.
If she didn't confess, all she did was say, tell Phoenix that she did it. Even if she did or did not.
February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is! It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day.
Wow.
Okay.
Rude.
This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Okay.
Because there's a sword and a shield.
Oh, because you can King of Prosecutors Trophy. Yeah, probably. All right, so forged evidence, tomorrow's trial, the day of the crime, or King of Prosecutors Trophy?
Let's start with the trophy. That's what we're talking about right now.
This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake?
Wow.
God, been there. Very well. Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. So of course he used the weapon against the shield. It's the unstoppable force and the immovable object. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless.
and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Okay.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. If that's so, then why are you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished.
Chief Gant. King of Prosecutors Trophy updated in the court record. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form.
Okay.
Interesting.
I assume it was removed because it was used as a weapon in some form or another. The day of the crime, tomorrow's trial, or forged evidence?
The day of the crime.
Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right?
I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes, just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
By whom, pray tell, Edgeworth? Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to?
That's right.
Okay, tomorrow's trial or forged evidence?
Forged evidence.
There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase that fact.
But you didn't know, did you? I mean that the evidence was falsified.
The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. He said it much more eloquently, but to a degree, that's what I was getting at as well. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth?
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this?
Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Okay, tomorrow's trial?
Yeah.
Are you up for the trial tomorrow?
Huh. First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
That paper looks like the one they showed Gant reading.
Yeah.
Before. What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture. Something seemed strange about it.
Okay, but we already showed it to him. That's how we got the King of Prosecutors thing. But I think it was supposed to clue us into that. So, whoops, not talk, sorry. Present. Is there anything else that we can show him?
Did we show him the picture?
Yeah, that's how we got the King of Prosecutors trophy thing.
Or let's show him the vase then. The jar. Because it's in the picture.
Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea.
I'll pass on the tea. Just tell me about the case. Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth just told you no in a very stylish manner. Whose side are you on, anyway?
Maybe I just show him my best evidence. Or maybe if I just show him my best evidence, I can get some reaction out of him. So, am I wrong? I thought we did show this to him. We did, yeah. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he was just starting to make a name for himself. Yes, okay. Speaking of that, something that bothers me, the trophy he's holding is a little different than yours. Okay, and then that's when we get into all this. Shit. Okay. What else could we show him? He's not going to know this last person, is he? Because otherwise he would have...
He's already seen that.
Yeah, he would have said it in the trial, I guess. Do we do this? Nope. God damn. Oh, okay, that's fine. We're good. This? Okay. Oh. Shit. Chief Gant gave this to you that day, didn't he? He asked you to bring it here from the police department. The chief's a very competent man, but sometimes he does things that don't make any sense. At least it's better than being incompetent and doing things that don't make sense. A certain detective comes to mind. Alright, let's try that again so we can get the beginning of that.
Fucked up.
Come now, Wright. You can't seriously expect me to just sit down and chat with you about the case over a cup of tea. But this isn't related to the case, remember? You said so yourself. So I did. Chief Gant gave this... Okay, so then that's all that was. Okay.
Yeah, he's saying it would be better... Or it's better than being incompetent and doing stuff that doesn't make sense. And yeah. I would argue it's not. Because what we've learned here is that Chief Gant is falsifying evidence, and because he's so powerful and he has all these underlings, he just tells them to do whatever. Yeah. And he can just get away with it because he's telling them to do stuff.
Right.
So, like... it would be a lot better if he was incompetent, because then he wouldn't be falsifying evidence. Or if he was falsifying evidence, it would be easier to catch him.
Right, he wouldn't be able to mastermind this whole thing, seemingly. Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit down over a cup of tea? Okay, so it's the same goddamn thing. Great.
The autopsy report?
For Neil?
Yeah, that was something we haven't showed to him yet. We didn't have before.
Nope. Okay.
Did you show him the file?
This?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I think that's it.
Yeah, me too. Right? Okay. So now... Oh! Okay. Now there's something new here, I guess. Yeah. February 24th, Prosecutor's Office, Underground Parking Lot. Excuse me. Oh, there she is. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Starr.
What is that, wrapped in a palm leaf?
I cannot tell.
Or like a... Is it a palm leaf or like a... Yeah, I don't know.
have no idea. Miss Starr. I guess she's out of lunches. And you certainly are the curious sort, aren't you?
Hell yeah.
Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. That's really stupid. They wouldn't have had to do that. They could have just seen a baby cow suckling on the nipple to discover milk.
Yeah.
You don't have to... Plus,
I mean,
humans...
it's not discovering milk. You already know milk exists.
Yep, humans do it. All mammals do... Anyway... Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Okay, so let's present her with this picture that she's not in. I don't have anything else to tell you. Miss Starr, the only thing I can give you now is a poppy seed rice set.
Talk about cheap. Eat this, and maybe you'll be able to tell black from white in court tomorrow.
Wow. Burn.
Yeah, what the hell? This? I don't have anything else to tell you. Okay. This.
Yeah.
God damn it, you're worthless.
She's not worthless for roast beef.
This? Okay. This?
Maybe she knows who 7777 is.
Okay.
I don't know how many sevens it is.
That's 1 7 too many, Amy.
I think it was a couple less than it should have been.
It definitely was. God damn it, this woman. Okay, fine. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay. Dark investigation or after case closed?
Dark investigation.
Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Okay, so it wasn't all at once then. If they were trailing him for half a year, that couldn't be the case unless he did all those killings and then got away.
Right.
And then they searched for him for half a year and then he turned himself in.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy.
Hot.
Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Oh, so Lana had feelings for Jake.
Oh.
And so she falsified the evidence because she knew she needed to get Dark for having killed Neil.
Okay.
Or she had feelings for Neil, but I assume
Right,
it's
it's
based
one of
on the
them.
way that she's saying it that she had feelings for Jake. Lana Skye? My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. Okay, so legendary duo or after case closed?
Legendary duo.
Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produce the most...
Produce evidence.
Yeah, exactly. He'd produce the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
She used the word produce.
Yeah. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh, yes. There were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh, yes. Myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Okay, so because she looked up to her, she, being Ms. Starr, looked up to Lana and hoped that Lana would have maybe been able to help the rest of them get past what happened, and she was dealing with her own stuff. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman, were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter.
Yeah, it was my take too.
She was being used? Oops, sorry. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess.
She coughs it up.
Well, not even that, right? So I think we like all danced around it in our guesses. So Gant has something on her. He moved her to the prosecutor's office because he knew he could control her, because he knew he had whatever that blackmail is to dangle over her. Now that this is getting to this point, he maybe forced her to have to kill Goodman?
I don't know.
Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Okay, but we didn't gain any evidence to show to Gumshoe.
No, but we learned a lot more what's going on.
Yeah, but we can't... We need to show him something.
Well, maybe if we show it to him now. Like, maybe showing him the picture
here we
now.
Go. Yeah, let's see. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well?
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer is still no.
Persistency?
Yeah, not persistence. I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind.
Or you could just take the hinges off the door. And then move the door out of the doorway and then just go in. And then just reattach the door when you're done.
Yeah. Alright, so the Gant team picture didn't work. Could it be this?
I thought we tried that.
Yeah, probably. Okay. But we hadn't talked to Edgeworth the last
Right.
time we did it, so maybe.
Right. I mean, at this point, we've talked to both the Cough-Up Queen and Edgeworth, so maybe...
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Ah, congratulations. Say, that design's based on an old Chinese parable, right? Yeah, everyone knows that. There was this, dragon. Yeah, that's it, a dragon. He had a thing for shields, see? That's not exactly the version we heard. No, but this one sounds more exciting. Anyway, it gets kind of gory after that. I'll spare you the details. God damn it, that wasn't it. I'm kind of at a loss here.
Yeah.
No, I hate looking this crap up. God damn it. Okay. Sorry. We'll be back in a second, I guess. Ugh. Okay, I looked it up. I assumed I pseudo forgotten about it, but also I just assumed that we wouldn't have been able to look at it. Like, he wouldn't have let us. But I guess not? How the hell do I get there? Here. The piece of paper that he threw on the floor.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was writing before. But he's in the room. Like, why would he ever let us look at this? Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out.
Oh my god.
Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation.
Wow.
Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it's your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either.
Wow, dude.
Uh-oh.
You're being very dramatic.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. Wonder if I can use it for anything. Letter of resignation put into pocket. Edgeworth's discarded letter of resignation. He's serious.
I love that he's serious at the end. So good.
So anyway, now we have a new piece of evidence to present
To Gumshoe.
to Gumshoe.
Gotcha.
What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him.
You didn't.
Detective...
Gumshoe?
That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing secretarial work at this point,
Yeah.
so or
And
like
getting
intern
coffee.
work.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you probably are getting fired and or demoted.
Yeah. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. All right, Detective. Thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. A police department ID card allows access to areas of the PD open to detectives. Okay, let's at least look at it. Detective Gumshoe isn't very photogenic, is he? Whatever you do, just don't say that to his face. Look, his eyes are half shut. Yeah, and his mouth is half open. Hey, each of his shirt buttons is off a notch. And he's got the narrow end of his tie in front. I think this goes beyond being a photogenic issue. Yeah, it kind of seems that
it's
way.
just like a hygienic. Well, not really hygienic, but just he's not well kept.
Yeah.
At all.
All right. Well, anyway, all right. Let's.
Very disheveled.
Yeah. Let's go do what we got to do in the chief's office. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Click. Beep.
Nice. We're here.
We sure are.
Gorgeous. Love it.
We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Eek! Gah!
Wow.
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Wow.
Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket.
What?
What? Oh, because he scared us.
Hey, don't do that to my card.
What? That's so weird. What the hell?
I'm so confused.
I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
Yeah.
You really do want to get...
Point, because it's everyone against the chief at this point, because if it's not...
It's gotta be, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be, because that's the only way to take him down.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now, come on, let's see what we can find out.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay,
yeah,
so...
let's examine the shit out of this room.
We can talk to him at the chief's office, or Chief Gant, or we can just examine first. It's up to you.
Yeah, let's examine first, then we can come back to talking about it.
You got it. Alright, let's look at something a little bit more innocuous first, like this window. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you were to drop that suit of armor from here...
At first, the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window.
Really? Why didn't he?
He did.
They say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view.
Oh. Stained glass or not, it's a huge window.
Oh, I guess just the top is stained
exactly,
glass.
Yeah.
That's what they mean by that.
Yeah.
This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons?
Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations.
First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
I hoped this shit was stuff he paid for himself.
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
Oh.
That'll show him.
You don't have any taxes to pay.
Shh! Be careful of what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak.
I don't think he'd fit in there.
No.
Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy could be.
Okay. His desk. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier...
Oh, it's you two!
Chief Gant! He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading.
This looks like a list of evidence.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Yep.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident? I wonder what this is doing here.
Hold on, Detective. What did you just say?
I said, I wonder what...
No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long.
That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
A half-sized list of evidence.
Yup. The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
What would the other half of the list be doing here?
Uh-huh.
I knew it! The chief...
Hiding in a desk drawer. That's
it's the vase. I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Evidence list added to the court record. List of evidence in the SL9 incident was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is what we need. Let me see that list. Come on, what the hell? Why can't we...
I think we have to take it to Edgeworth.
Oh! The drawing! That Emma did when she was a kid.
Oh.
Remember, she said she drew it, but it wasn't good enough. I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I'd better keep quiet about it for now. Huh? Oh, sorry, huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright? I better not forget about this picture. Okay, so you don't want to show her the picture that she definitely drew, because she told us before that she drew it. So I guess we'll have to take it out later or something?
Yeah.
Alright,
This is a safe, isn't it? Safe? That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. I wonder what code we'll enter. Do you have a guess?
7777.
100%. A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. I want to try my birthday. It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Input code. You're damn right it opens. Code confirmed, access granted.
Yep.
Please be the other piece of the vase.
Oh my god, I'm sure it is.
Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal?
Oh
Gumshoe, you...
There's no month 77.
You stupid bastard.
Jesus.
777-7777. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777-777? That ID number? I think that's one too few, right? I think you're 1-7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? I mean, yes, very much so. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Oh my god.
Look, it's a handle of a vase. Handle of a vase. Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! A shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here, too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth that was used to, like, wipe away...
Oh, handprints.
Handprints or blood marks. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so.
He's so weird.
Well, it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective.
Well, first the vase, obviously. And then maybe we can dust the leather?
Oh yeah, probably. If he allows us to. Well, actually, yeah, so do we have the... We don't have the two of them, okay. So, God bless you. We'll just show him this. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Okay, good. So I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found. You mean this one that was in the safe? Yes, that one that was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Assemble the fragments. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes.
Yeah, but he didn't hide the rest of it. Like, what was the point then?
Don't ask me, man. Okay, so we want to rotate. I just gotta remember the buttons.
No, that little piece
this way
is on top, yeah.
Got there. There! It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But Hey guys, get a load of this!
What is it?
This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
It is?
Fingerprints.
There's a reddish line on it.
There are fingerprints in the blood.
A reddish line? That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe?
Unstable jar updated in the court record. Evidence from the SL9 incident. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. Blood traces. Okay, so can we analyze this?
Yeah, these little dot ones look like fingerprints.
Hey, look
but
here.
They might just be gloved fingerprints again.
Yeah. It's hard to see, but there's a dark red stain here. Looks like blood.
Oh, that's the piece underneath the piece that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, I see where the broken line is.
Yeah.
Now. Okay.
This piece the chief has is different, though. The blood stains on the other pieces are just spots, but this one's a line. That is odd. Okay, so can we... I mean, if we rotate it, nothing. Because we already looked at the fact that it's, like, see-through.
Open on the bottom, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Oops, sorry. Right? We talked about this? Huh? This thing doesn't have a bottom. That's weird. I wonder which side is up. Better yet, what's the purpose of a bottomless jar? At least it doesn't collect dust inside, right? Okay, so... we know all of that. I guess the question is, can we fingerprint? I guess not. Okay. Yeah, they'd have to give us a way, like a prompt to be able to do that. Alright, let's examine more of this room, because we only did this small portion and got all that evidence already. Can we get more from this desk? Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk! We found this inside the drawer, a list of evidence from the SL9 incident. Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of that list. What would this list be doing here? We better look a little more into this list. I did already, and I flipped it over, and... Alright, let's look at the organ. The Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. There's...
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department.
That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building.
Wow.
When a detective screws up, the Chief calls them to this office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
Oh god, that's actual torture.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears.
So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the Chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway.
That's true.
That's beside the point. Okay, let's slide, I suppose, unless we're... Oh, okay, I was going to say, unless we're looking at this. This mark looks like some kind of flower.
Word is, it's designed after the insignia on the prosecutor's badge.
Prosecutor's badge?
Yeah, like the one hanging from your collar.
What? They have badges too?
The design's supposed to portray the severity of the punishment system.
Now that you mention it, it does look all pointy and kind of painful. But Mr. Edgeworth never wears a badge.
That's because he's a sharp dresser. A badge like that wouldn't go too well with his outfit.
Wow.
So sharp dressers don't need to wear badges?
I guess everyone just kind of lets it slide.
I don't see how that's supposed to signify severe punishment.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Alright, another window.
Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside.
No, it doesn't.
No, you crazy man.
This is the 15th floor.
I know, I was just saying.
Saying what?
Ever since making Detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams.
So long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired.
Don't say that.
Okay.
These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf. Hey! This is when Lana and I went to that theme park. Aw.
That's the picture?
That made her sad.
Oh. I guess
Oh,
she
we
left
saw
that
that already.
behind.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I just assumed it would have been something different, but it isn't. This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff legends are made of. Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime?
Creep.
Alright. And the picture. This was taken on that day, 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. Then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think?
So the sword from the trophy was the sword that actually killed him.
Then
I
have to imagine
then it was disposed of.
But it's already broken.
No. Both the shield and the sword
Are broken.
are supposed to be broken
Correct.
because of the legend.
Correct. So what I'm saying is, if that's the sword that was used, then how did the piece of the other knife get in there?
Because it was put there on purpose when Gant tried to make it seem like the actual murder weapon was never there.
But when would he have had access? Lana was the first person in the room.
Yes, but this was the room.
Sure.
It was his office, too.
Sure.
So, like, he probably...
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. At least it's nothing that we've heard about
Lana
yet.
left the room, she said. She
Did
left the room with Emma and sat somewhere else. And she just, like, focused on Emma.
Okay.
So, if Gant was able to enter the room without Lana seeing,
Mm-hmm.
because Lana was upset and sitting outside with Emma, then he would have been able to switch out the
Yeah,
murder weapons.
I'm just saying that doesn't seem to be... Like, that's nothing that we've seen evidence for yet. Maybe. We have nothing that indicates that to us yet.
Okay.
But we can keep an open mind about it, yeah. Do you want to ask him about the Chief's office or Chief Gant?
Chief's office.
That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana on that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see.
So clearly he's not always alert, yet he wants you to be.
So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant, and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. But maybe there are. What if we use the luminal testing fluid? If the murder happened over here, yep, bam, immediately. Okay, first shot too. Yeah, let's examine it. Whoa, this area must have been covered in blood.
You were there.
She was unconscious. Is this from that incident? It must be, when Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. 2 years have passed, so the reaction's kind of dull. So a murder really did take place here. Okay, but we don't have that in evidence yet. Okay, where? Hold on. Hold on. This is where the vase was. Or here? Come on. It's gotta be somewhere.
It's not gonna work if the blood on the vase was dry before he put it in the safe.
No, that's not my implication. The vase was up when that picture was taken.
somewhere in this room. In fact, it was near this...
in front of the window because...
Yes, it was near the suit of armor. I remember because it was in front of her.
It was to the left of her.
I'm just trying to see if, like, there's any blood that ends up on these walls or whatever. God damn it. No? And none on the desk.
This whole room is going to be so luminally.
Yeah, good.
It's going to be gross.
Good.
I don't know if luminol fluid has a scent.
Who knows?
Or like a residue it leaves behind.
Come on. Really?
I guess that's it.
Alright, so then the only other thing I can think of trying is the fingerprint set. But we can't, right? That one we have to be prompted for? Huh. Okay. Examine... No? Alright, sorry everybody, give me one more second. I was so close. So close to having it right. So close. We need a reason to use it, right? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So, you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth you found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? Oh, God, dude.
He's just really stupid.
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told 1,000,000 times. Alright, let's get... Oh, sorry. Alright, let's get this over with.
Wow. This is rude.
Yeah. Oh!
The hell?
Sure. Because I had to pick, pick a finger first. Okay. I gave it my best shot. That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it? But it doesn't look like we'll get a clearer result from this print. Okay, let's try a different finger then. Okay. This one looks pretty clean, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that looks pretty damn good to me, man. Obviously, we got to do a little bit better because, you know, they're very particular about this sort of thing.
That looks just like the print we've already seen.
Kind of. Yeah, I agree. All right, here we go.
It was Marshall's.
Compare. This one. It's
Emma.
Emma's? Whoa. What? Why? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Unless when she... No, because when she was unconscious... Lana was the first one in the room, or so she thinks.
Or she lied.
Lana lied or Emma lied?
Emma lied.
Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. That's the blackmail.
Yeah. But how did he get it?
We haven't...
Because-
It hasn't been added to evidence yet for us, so we haven't had a chance to look at it. I assume if we look at the other side, there's going to be, like, wiped away blood or something. Like, or if the leather is part of Marshall's outfit.
Right.
Because Jake Marshall definitely wears leather clothing. So if Neil Marshall does as well, it could be a piece of his clothing that very clearly has her handprint on it and indicating that she had something to do with it. I don't know. I have no idea.
I just don't know how he got her handprint, because I think, like, she doesn't even know that it would be her handprint.
Right. She doesn't.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I assume at this point Lana knows.
Well, obviously. But, I mean, the point is...
I don't see how it fits, though.
Was she unconscious when he got it?
That was my first thought.
No, because Lana was already there.
Like I said, she believes she was the first one in the room. But if you walk into a room and there's 3 bodies on the floor...
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Okay.
Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Piece of cloth folded and added to the court record. Found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma Skye's prints. Alright, so then let's check the court record. And let's examine this. And flip it over if we can to look at the other side. But first, we'll look at this. This is a handprint, right? Yeah, someone left behind an oil stain on the fabric. Whoever it was, they must have had a really oily hand. Mr. Wright, think about it scientifically. Huh? A more likely explanation is the person slipped and fell on a freshly waxed floor, getting wax all over their hand. Well, that would account for this amount of oil, I guess. I don't see what's so scientific about it, though. It happens, you know. I always slip on the floors at school after they're waxed.
Okay.
Really weird. What's on this side?
Chief Gant visit you at school? And then
no-
wait until you slipped on the floor?
I could have sworn there would have been something on the other side of this. Okay. I guess not. So weird.
It's very weird.
Do we get to talk to... We still haven't talked about Chief Gant, so let's see. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to stop bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go after that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What?
Oh, he's just now thinking of that?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
right,
jeez.
Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. No, that's not very kind, is it? I assume it's him. It's my guess. In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek! Chief Gant! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. What?
Okay.
Just then, I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out.
It's crumpled up, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, you won't be needing it anymore. But, sir! Now, get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair. You're free to go.
No, we're not fucking leaving Emma here with this fucking maniac.
Mr. Wright! Oh shit, apparently we are. Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal.
Yeah, good luck with that. He walks in and Emma is dead.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th. This episode is so long. I'm so sorry, everybody. We're dying here as well, but I really apologize for how long this is. This is insane.
Well, do you want to like end it here?
No, it's guaranteed almost over.
Okay.
February 24th, detention center visitors room. Like, I'm sure we're gonna like tell Lana what's going on, and then it's done. Is my vision here. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. That she was guilty. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe.
Yeah, fuck you too, Edgeworth.
Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Okay, so, keeping quiet? I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so, because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So, you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I'm supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? So it's either Gant or Emma, but because it's frightened of, not protecting, it's Gant.
Right.
Well, Miss Skye? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? Okay. We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case.
I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now, tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you all that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yeah, she was ordered to kill him, I think. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. Okay, so just dispose of then. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. Mm-hmm. The knife from the SL9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife.
That she found in the trunk of the car.
Yep, okay. That would be Edgeworth's knife? That's right. And so that's when Star saw her do it. Mm-hmm. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. So that's how her blood ended up on his shoe. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Ms. Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. And so that's why it was wrapped in her muffler and shoved in the muffler of the car.
Right.
So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? I love this music.
Yeah.
The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust, or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. Oh, sorry, that's Phoenix, but regardless. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now, please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. She's like, please don't do this tomorrow. He's like, but tomorrow, I'm doing this. Yeah. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Thank the gods above, this fucking episode is so long. I mean, look, we found out a lot of things, and they're important things to have figured out and to have found out. But my God, that investigation took forever.
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
And I feel like the stuff that we learned, we were so close to figuring it out, like, at the beginning of this shit that, like, it's so annoying that it took so long.
It did. It really did. We did have to end up looking some things up this time, which was frustrating and annoying, but still, I don't think this was as hard as that other investigation episode that we did, like the last one, I think. But still, like this at least made a fair bit of sense, whereas the last one, it was like, how the hell were we supposed to know any of that?
Right.
But anyway, that is going to be the end of this episode because, good Lord, this was a long one. Thank you for hanging out for any and all of this that you did. Please don't forget, especially if you appreciated us being here for this whole episode and you stayed for this whole thing, if you have not already subscribed and have that bell rung, please make sure to do so. You'll get notifications whenever any of our videos come out, including the continuation of this series. We are getting towards the end, so thank you so very much for being here with us. You can check out our other channels and stuff down in the description box below as well. But for now, from us here at the Geek for All family of channels, I have been Joe.
And I'm Amy.
We will be back next week for the final day of trial. It's still going to be a couple of episodes, I assure you. But we'll see you then. And as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.